Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. I'm Basil.
I'm Baz.
We are recording March 8th, 2025, Saturday. Dad, it's been a while. We haven't recorded since the Super Bowl postgame, I think.
That's right. Night of the Super Bowl was a late podcast, and you didn't get out of here like 12 o'clock or even later.
Yeah.
Which, was a late one. But, there's just so many things you can do after the Super Bowl. Obviously we're not going to be in Indianapolis, so we can't go to the Combine. So for us to do a podcast, we need to get some information.
There's got to be something going on.
We can talk about the game again, of course.
I'd love to.
I've only watched it about 8 times and about 1,500 different highlight packages.
Yeah.
So
that's right. That's for sure. Obviously, you can tell we're wearing some jerseys today, or some shirt jerseys, whatever you want to call them. I got my Cooper DeJean going on. My dad's got a little Saquon Barkley. I got the little
Super Bowl
patch on.
We have some little extra decorations up here. We got Mike Roman's pictures. His shirt he gave us is covered up right now, but that's okay.
I think he'd be okay with it.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. Just have to put up some gear, some of the new merch, if you will, and we're pretty happy to be sporting that. So
yeah. So as we come back, we're like you guys, we're all excited for the offseason. It's hard to walk away from the Super Bowl. I talked to him, and we've made some some TikToks about it. Just kind of like, what do you do? I can't just move on.
Yeah.
This was huge.
I don't want it to end.
I can't just go on and go, oh, okay, well, we're done. No, I got to keep going. I got to keep celebrating. We did record for the parade. I forgot. We did record.
Yeah, we did. We did. You're right.
But so it's just like, how am I supposed to just start thinking about next season or start thinking about the draft? It's too happy. I'm too excited. It's difficult. But
it's tough because, once you get into the draft and the new season, the new league season, which opens up on Monday, just a few days from now, that's when it ends. Like you'll never see the same team perform again. That part of
officially,
that season is over officially. So that's kind of you don't want to let go of that.
Definitely. Yeah, so as we come back, we'll talk about some of the moves that have already happened. Talk about a couple things that maybe we'll see next week as free agency begins on Monday, like you said, and on Wednesday officially when the contracts start getting signed. We'll talk about some offseason needs, some draft needs, a couple players in the draft maybe we're looking into. I know we have a long time until the draft, so there's a lot of time for us to talk about players and everything. But for now, we can at least just talk a little bit about the offseason and everything. As always, want to give a shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles fan club of Colorado Springs. This last season, we had a great time watching it with them at Rhino Sports and Spirits every week. We couldn't go every week, but that's where they were, and had an amazing time with them at the Super Bowl, of course. We'll keep you guys up to date on what we're going to be doing. Obviously, we shared last time that Frankie's did officially close down. So we're not too sure if we're going back to Rhinos. We don't know if there's another place in store. We'll find out. I'm assuming Rhinos will want us back after what a successful season.
Yeah, I think so. You had a nice little payday this year with that.
Definitely.
And we had a lot of fans come out, which was amazing, and even some people that we hadn't seen in a while. So it was awesome.
Definitely, yes. All right, let's talk about the offseason. So it has begun. Of course, we're a month into it, but we waited for some moves to come out. So top moves that we saw, obviously we all knew Kellen Moore was going to be leaving, going to the Saints, given his chance to finally be a head coach in the NFL. We wish him luck. Not too much luck, though, because he's in the NFC. But on our side, Kevin Patullo, who was the passing game coordinator last year, he's been with Nick. He was at the Colts with Nick, and he's been around him since, I think, 2018. Kevin Patullo finally going to be the offensive coordinator for the Eagles next year.
So we brought in a guy from everybody was always talking about that, promoting from within, and this time we did stay in. So, we'll see how it works out.
He's with us since 21. He was the pass game coordinator, and then he was the associate head coach. So the nice thing is, you think since 21, that's been since Jalen, and of course since Nick.
And so a lot of familiarity,
absolutely,
with thoughts, processes, players. They they all mind meld all the time. So it's a good hire, I think.
Yeah. Next one from outside the organization came Parks Frazier, who became our pass game coordinator to replace Kevin Patullo. And then, of course, Scott Loeffler, hired as the quarterbacks coach from Bowling Green. Big storyline about Scott Loeffler, everybody probably knows this already, was the backup quarterback to Brady at Michigan. So really good friends with Brady. And there's reports say that him and Brady are still best friends to this day. So you're like, oh, hey, a guy who sat behind Brady's got to be pretty good, as a coach at least, Yeah,
definitely. Watched him grow and watched, maybe even helped him. He's a quarterback's coach. Maybe he gave him a few tippers we don't know about.
That's right, yeah. Some other changes we want to talk about. That takes care of the coaching changes. But next big one for us, Darius Slay, it was designated as a post-June 1st release. That is going to help us with the cap. It's going to save about $4.3 million in the cap. So it makes sense it was going to happen. We all kind of had a feeling that not that just this would be his last year with us, but that he wasn't going to be back on that contract.
Yeah, and we knew that. I mean, it's just too much money. And, I'm sure he knew it too. I mean, he's not holding anything against it. I mean, he's been on a couple of podcasts talking about it. No bad words. He hasn't really been disappointed. He knew it was coming.
Yeah, of course. No. And I think everyone expected it as well. Not ruling out a possible reunion. I mean, honestly, that was what I first thought when we cut him. I was like, well, in 2022, we cut him to restructure, to sign a new deal, and we'd sign him the next day to a 3-year contract. So I wouldn't be surprised if this was just to kind of fix the contract part, and then we're going to re-sign them in a couple of days.
The other
wouldn't be surprised at all.
Like the other thing, which is new now, that you can say he's going to be a post-June cut.
Yeah,
and so this way he can get his feet wet. He can go look and see if there is an opportunity he wants to pursue. Maybe he wants to go back to Detroit. Who knows? But it's a good way of getting rid of a player and giving him a lot of time and chance to catch on with somebody else.
Definitely. And I wanted to kind of read over his career in Philly, because his career in Philly. I told you off camera, this is, what he did in his 5 years with us here, or what he went through, some players wouldn't go through in a full lifetime of being in high school, college football, and a coach. Like, he's gone through so much. So, bringing into 2020, we signed him from Detroit off the street, became a free agent. We signed him, and he plays all season long with us. But 2020, as you remember, and I'm pointing it out over the last few days for you, one of the worst seasons possibly in Eagles franchise history.
At least in the last 25 years.
We went 4-11-1. It was the year that we lost Carson Wentz. Like, it was the year that we realized that
it was over.
We realized that it was over. He was not going to be good again. It was done. It was the year that we had drafted Jalen Reagor, Davion Taylor, some of our worst picks ever. We did draft Jalen Hurts that year, which of course was incredibly controversial pick. Turned out to be pretty good.
Yeah. The other tip on being a bad season is whenever you have a tie game, something was wrong.
Yeah. So that's the 2020 season with Slay. He got to be a part of one of our worst teams ever. Then in 2021, he gets to be part of an okay team, a team that goes, I think, 8-9, 9-8, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna be okay, and then get into the playoffs. I think it was 9-7. I don't remember. But we're a pretty good team, and you get in the playoffs, and hey, there's some future there, and it's all good. Then in 2022, he gets to be a part of one of the greatest Eagles teams of all time. Go to the Super Bowl and then unfortunately lose. So he's part of that. 2023, a couple injuries here and there. He's part of a good team that collapses. He sees one of the most epic collapses in NFL history.
Yeah.
And then in 2024, he gets to be part of the greatest Eagles team of all time.
Agreed.
And win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And it's just like, man, what, like a 5-year span, Slay just went through it all. I mean, the range of emotion is unbelievable.
Not just that, win the Super Bowl in the first half. And, I'm sure he was enjoying himself that whole second half, saying, you know what, they're going to throw the ball, but they can't even get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. So yeah.
No, great career for him with the Eagles. I mean, he's probably going to keep playing. But
so was his 2020 year? That was his first year with us.
Yeah.
Was that his big play Slay year, though?
No, it was 2021.
Okay, I was going to say, because that's when he became, endeared to the fans and just became an amazing player. I mean, you don't normally see cornerbacks that are making plays like that, but he was incredible that year.
In 2020, we were just an awful team. He only had one interception. The next 2 years, he has 3 picks each. In 2021, he had an interception for a touchdown. He had 2 fumble recoveries for 2 touchdowns. That was the year that it became the big play Slay.
It was amazing. It was great.
5 seasons with us, 3 Pro Bowls, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 Super Bowl win. Pretty great Eagles signing, I would say.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's up there. Top free agent signing. I mean, you get a guy for 5 years and he takes you to 2 Super Bowls and wins 1. I mean,
and not only
we haven't seen that before in our career. So
not only does he perform well for you in that time period, he also is a leader and creates a growth. He was a captain, he creates a growth of young players that we now have so much to look forward to over the next few years with Cooper, Keeley.
He is a different kind of captain too, a guy that can mess around and goof around and keep things light, where a lot of your other captains are kind of a bit stoic and win at all costs type coaches or captains. But yeah, he's the kind of guy you can approach. And you guarantee, like you say, guarantee he helped a lot of those other guys grow and feel comfortable in the locker room. So that's the kind of captain you want.
Yeah. 5 touchdowns in his career with the Eagles.
It's amazing.
For a defensive back.
Yeah.
2 pick sixes and 3 fumble recovery for a touchdown.
I just know some of those fumble recoveries and just they were in games that were tight. Like I can go back and just remember it, man. Every time he had every time he made a big play, it was a game changer or a game's turning point, if you will.
Yeah. 4 touchdowns, 2 fumble recovery for a touchdown. 3 fumble recoveries total. So, 4 touchdowns in his 5-year career with us. For a defensive back, that's not too bad.
He's got that scoop and score nickname, that scoop and score thing.
Yeah. Let's talk about James Bradberry. Not as prolific of a time with us, but still, it's worthy of noting. He was also designated as June 1st release, which is the 2 guys you can only do 2 of them. That'll save us about $2.1 million in the cap. With us at 2 years, technically 3 seasons. Didn't play this year at all. 2022. He was phenomenal. Second team All-Pro, 3 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown in the first game with the Eagles. Remember the Detroit game?
Yes.
So, his first year with us, he was phenomenal. Of course, the second year didn't end up going so well.
Yeah.
We all remember what happened there.
Kind of lost a step.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But like say, he stayed around this year. He didn't cause any problems. He didn't demand a trade or say, get me off the payroll. And, we've heard from others in the organization that he actually was out there helping players.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
Helping them, grow and not just being a selfish guy. So we have to thank him for his time there. And, hopefully maybe he's still fairly young, right? He's not in his late 30s. He's in his
he's in his early 30s.
So he might still grab onto somebody and
doubt it.
Get a contract somewhere.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that he has a somewhat of a possibility to have a career.
So we wish him well. He won't make any hated players list for us in the years to come.
Agreed. I do agree with you. I think last year was tough, and then
it was.
But I'm happy that he gets to walk away with a ring, at least on his finger.
Definitely,
that's big.
Definitely, he was on the team. He's still designated as a team on the not the live roster, but he was still on the team.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Let's talk about Saquon Barkley. So, big news of the offseason. Saquon Barkley signs a 2-year extension for $41.2 million. So he's locked in. This was an extension, not a new contract. So he's set in until 2028. He's still got 2 years on his old contract, and now that's that 2-year extension. So officially, we got 4 more years with us right now.
Yeah, it's funny because it was a signing that probably really wasn't necessary.
I don't think so, but
when you and I first heard about it, I kind of scratched my head for about a second. Then, of course, I knew there was some cap implications there, and rewarding a player that had an all-time season.
Agreed.
Probably not a bad thing when you go into free agency, not just now, but in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
You could say to a player, hey, man, you've seen. We don't just say it's going to happen. It's happened.
Yeah. And we take care of our own.
We take care of our own. And it's funny because without naming any teams, you hear about some of these other teams, they got the quarterback saying, hey, could we sign some players? And you hear other people say, I've seen these other teams be able to sign players and extend players and save cap money. So, it's a big, a point for players that maybe down the road say, hey, I'm looking for a team.
It's just notable even for this offseason. Teams going, oh, man, if I sign with the Eagles, if I sign with Philly, maybe I'm not going to get a lot of money right now because they don't have, too much cap space. But I know if I do my best and I give it my all, they take care of me. They're really a team that, there was no reason to sign this extension for Saquon.
And even before,
but I understand why you would do it. It's great.
Before Saquon, this isn't the first time.
Oh, no.
Look at, 3 or 4 of our offensive linemen have already been, re-signed, extended down the road. And
we made Landon the highest paid left guard in the league. We made Jordan Mailata one of the highest paid left tackles. Lane Johnson's been the highest paid right tackle for, maybe Penei Sewell has him now, but I don't know. He's been one of them.
And, it's funny how you always hear about how they're going to free up cap money or you're going to have dead money down the road. When you win a Super Bowl, do you care?
No.
Do you really care?
No.
And when you think about it, when again we had talked about it, we've had other players too that have been signed 4 years down the road, 5. The cap's just going to go up again.
Exactly.
So I mean, you have to work the numbers somewhat, but even with this signing, that the extension they did, they gave him a bunch of guaranteed money. A lot of that money's cash paid up front, and it's not going to hurt you down the road 3 or 4 years from now. So and it's good. I mean, we know Barkley's going to be here, and he can relax and he can just get ready for next year.
It's true. And then speaking of taking care of your own, obviously, Zach Baun. The Eagles signed Zach Baun for a 3-year, $51 million.
Didn't even let him to be a free agent, baby. Didn't even let him get there.
So he's set with us now until 2027. Got 3 additional years with us for now. Another great sense of taking care of their own. I mean, they didn't yet. You're right. Didn't even go test the waters or go see what you're worth. Then we'll find out. No, they said, nope, we'll take him.
Well, ours. You and I know he was the number one guy we had to re-sign. Oh, but he only had one good year, and is he going to be good next year? He's in a system. He is the leader of the system in the middle of the field there. Fantastic, So I think it was a great thing to sign him before it even got close to free agency. And again, it's probably more money than some people were estimating. I kind of had a feeling he was going to get at least that, if not more. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but for a 27-year-old, 28-year-old player who just had a career year, I still think, he doesn't have a lot of tread on the wheels. We know that from his career already. 4 years in the league, I think? 5 years in the league.
4 with the Saints, 1 with us.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying, 4 before he came to us.
Yeah.
And, really had not had a lot of bumps and bruises. So, I mean, this is a good thing, And he looks fantastic, and, he loves playing for Philly. You could just see it in his face. So, yeah, great re-signing, I think.
Agreed. Yep. Dad, let's talk about some other free agents on the Eagles who are pending, going to be becoming a free agent on Monday. We're going to play a little stay or go. So I'm going to say a player. I'll have you say stay or go, maybe give a little explanation why, and then I'll see if I agree with you or don't agree with you, okay?
Sounds good.
And this is not what you want to happen. This is what you think will happen. Okay?
Yes.
All right, stay or go. Big name, Milton Williams.
He's going to go. Unfortunately, we can't pay him $22 million a year. He deserves it.
I do.
Maybe if I was his agent, I may say to him, hey, maybe you might want to stay here and continue this success. You're only 25.
Agents don't do that. They want the money.
You're only 25. You had a ring. This team has a chance to possibly repeat next year. You're only going to get better. Your career numbers are only going to get better, but he's got to take the four-year contract that's going to come his way. Kind of like Javon Hargrave.
He left, yep.
Maybe not talk to him because I know your agent's probably keeping him away because it did not help him at all. I mean, he never really had a big year after he left us, but that's the chance you take. Yep. He was a little bit older as well.
Yeah, I agree. It's a go. As much as you want him back, and you'd love to have him.
Well, he's homegrown. We drafted him.
Yeah, drafted.
He was drafted, and that's when Howie had to get a fake fist bump from one of his scouts who was pissed that we drafted him. Yeah. And now you want to say to him, "Hey, how do you like me now?" This guy, won a Super Bowl for you. Pretty much. I mean, he was one of the top guys in that game last month ago.
It's incredible how much money him and Josh Sweat had made in that Super Bowl. I mean, just in that Super Bowl alone. He was already going to make money. He's great.
He was. But Sweaty, in my opinion, he had taken a pay cut last year. He'd gone gaps without any sacks, but my God, in that Super Bowl.
Best player on the field.
He was the best player on the planet. He was amazing. So he deserves it as well.
Let's go to Sweat. You stay or go.
He's going to go, unfortunately. I think if anybody the Eagles want, they'd want Milton back.
Real quick. I should have said that. For Milton Williams, put a percentage on it. Percentage of chance he's back.
20. Okay. I think less than
I was going to go 15.
Yeah, I would go less than that.
Now, Josh Sweat.
100% not going to be back.
I think there's a 0% chance he's back. I really do.
Because, he begrudgingly took a pay cut last year. 1 year, $10 million contract.
Yep.
Now I'm sure he's not so begrudged. Can't say it now, but he's probably past it because he just made himself a huge amount of money for this postseason, and he deserves it. He played great, and I wish he had played that great through the season for us because we were needing that one defensive end, edge, if you will, to be that guy, and he just really wasn't the guy in the regular season.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, I don't think he'd be back, but good luck to him.
Mekhi Becton, stay or go?
Becton, I think he's the next guy that we're going to sign.
Okay.
But again, it's all going to determine on length of years and money, because he knows he can go out there and get guard/tackle money. For us, he's only going to play guard. Maybe a couple of years down the road if they were able to sign him.
We'll see. Yeah.
I do think the smart move for him would be to stay. Everybody else threw him on the trash heap. The Eagles took him in, made him the player he is. Yeah. You can't really say he anywhere else he goes, I don't think he's going to play nearly as well or be protected by the guys on either side of him. But I think he could stay. I'm a 50-50 with him on that.
Okay, 50-50. Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm going to say go, but I kind of do agree there's like a 50% chance. I'm going to say 49% chance he's back, 51% chance he's going, because I do think he's going to go, but it is very, like, I don't know. I could see him being back because I could see him being like, you know what? I was a first-round pick, so I got some pretty good first-round money.
Right.
I don't need, but I also think it'd be smart of the Eagles to sign him with the anticipation of, well, if Lane retires in the next year or two, maybe we can start the process of getting Mekhi Becton ready to play right tackle. Right. At that point, you'd have to pay him more money, but at that point, that's 2-3 years down the road, so we don't know. So I think it's go, but I would love to see him back.
But if it's any player that's going to give the team a hometown discount where they're not going to have to pay him crazy money, it would be Becton, because
I do agree.
It's for his furtherment of his career. I mean, even if it's a 2-year and see where he is after that, because how old is he? I'm not real sure how he is, but if he's 25, 26, he could do a 2-year and then get the big money.
He's 25, so he's going to be.
So he should definitely.
He'll be 26 next month.
If it's a 2-year deal, and then let's see if I play tackle but I mean, in the interim, right now, I think he should just do a 2-year, 20, 22, something like that.
I do agree with that.
A team-friendly deal, but it will only help him down the road, because I don't know if he goes to any other team if he steps right in. I just don't feel it.
It's funny. I do agree with you. I think a 2-year deal would be perfect. 2-year, 22, something like that, 11 a year. And then maybe, if he gets tackled one day and Lane's gone and we have to move him over, and he's ready 28, and then boom.
Yeah.
Let's go, Josh. Or sorry, we just did Josh. Let's go, Oren Burks. Stay or go?
Oren Burks is definitely going to stay. Okay. I think, again, I go back to the player himself. He could go to another team and play special teams again, or he can stay here and be a big part of the first half of this season playing linebacker in this league. I don't know how old he is, but I think he's in the 28, 29.
He is 29.
29, so really for him, I don't see a lot of teams coming knocking down his door. He's got enough back footage to see and go, you know what, we've seen your career tape. You only really were good in this system. But for the Eagles, we need him more than he needs us, I think. But I mean, I would love to see him resign, and I think he's going to resign. And they're going to give him a good little package of money. He's not going to break the bank, but he's going to make some good money for the next couple of years.
It's tough because he's going to be 30 next week, like 2 weeks.
Okay.
So for me, I'm almost on a go. And it's not so much as I want him to go or anything, but I also think it's just hard that we are technically signing a backup linebacker in that sense. You know what I mean? Like, I know Nakobe Dean's hurt.
Right.
We don't know when he'll be back. Hopefully be back stronger than ever and never happen again, all that sort of stuff. So when we're signing Burks, we're anticipating that we are going to be signing a backup linebacker. And I feel like at this point, you have to just kind of trust. You got to throw your trust into Trotter. You got to throw your trust into Howie and what we did. We drafted this guy for a reason. Now, it wasn't just because of the story. It wasn't just because, Trotter played here and now we want his son to play here. No, it was a reason. There's a reason we drafted him. He's a good player. And I think you kind of have to. I would say I think Oren Burks is a go.
You think he's a go?
I do.
I wonder what he was making last year on his contract.
I don't know.
Because we could give him a 2-year, 2-year, $5 million, and we're going to need somebody early on. And even if that means it's going to help him become. Let's see, at a salary. What do you got here? 1.125. Is that what I see?
That's
there?
Right. Yep.
So he's making $2.25 million. for 2 seasons. We just give him a 2-year 3 or a 2-year 3.5, bump him up $500,000 each. Because I really think we need him in this. We need him in the interim coming up this season. And he's an older gentleman. He's not going to be.
That's the problem.
People's not going to be knocking his door down. It would just be the smart move for him. And I think the smart move for us to re-sign him.
Okay.
Maybe 2-year, $3 million, just to and we're going to hold you around. We're going to get you on there.
Let's hit these next 2 pretty quick.
Gotcha.
Backup tackles: Jack Driscoll, Fred Johnson. Driscoll, stay or go?
Go.
Really?
I mean, I'd like him to stay, but I just don't think. I think he's going to. He's already been to another team and then kind of dropped off on the trash heap as well. Like, we don't need you anymore. I'd like to see him stay. But
I think he's a stay. I think the team. I think the team likes him. He's been on and off the roster with us since we were drafted back in 2020. Oh my God.
Was it 2020?
Yes.
Okay. 2.
Yeah. Fourth round. No, not too bad. Okay. Yeah. He's been on and off the team. I think they like him. I think he likes them. I think he likes where he is. It's not going to be a lot of money. I don't think he has a market really anywhere because he already did get that money. After that rookie contract, he did get signed by Miami.
Yes.
It wasn't like a ton of money or anything, but back then that was when he was at his height of powers, and I think it's kind of low now. I just don't think anyone's looking for him, knocking down his door.
Again, I feel the same way, and that's why would you leave an organization where you have they trust you, they have a spot for you, they drafted you, but how much money is he going to need?
Let's go Fred Johnson.
Fred Johnson's another one that I'd like to see stay. He's possibly going to get some people knocking on his door because he has played well.
I think he's a go. Unfortunately, I'd like to have him here, but I do agree. I think that he played earlier this year a couple times when Mailata was out, and he played well.
He did.
And I think coaches around the league, I think when they see a lineman play for Stoutland, they go, hey, he's better now. You know what I mean? Like they think that. I think he's a go. Unfortunately, I wish we could keep him here, though. Avonte Maddox, stay or go?
I think he's a stay. Again, it's going to be a team-friendly contract. He's going to be a guy that we're going to use in a backup role, but he knows the defense. I mean, look at the play he made in the Super Bowl, man. He stepped right in and, made a huge play, really. I mean, that 4th down play was gigantic. I was glad to see him make a play in the Super Bowl because he's gotten a bad rap over the last couple of years. He kind of slowed down a little bit, but I think he's the kind of player that you can use in a backup type role. He comes in and makes a play here and there, and he knows the defense. So why take a risk on a guy that doesn't know any of that, not familiar with anyone? I mean, I think he's a stay.
I think he's a stay as well. I think that he's going to be that 4th, 5th cornerback option, nickel, behind Cooper DeJean, and also he can play safety. So there's no sense in really cutting him or obviously he's a free agent, so I'm not going to cut him. But I don't think there's any risk. No, sorry, there's no point in letting him go. It's not going to cost a lot of money, and
that's what it gets to be.
He knows the system, and
it gets to that. It gets to be about money when you get some of these farther down the list guys.
Yeah. Paris Campbell.
Gone.
Yeah, I agree. We don't even have to talk about
we want to develop younger guys.
Yeah. Kenny Gainwell?
Kenny Gainwell, he's going to go. I think he's going to get some money. Boy, if we could re-sign him, that would be great because he played a pivotal role last year. He gave Barkley,
last 4 years.
We don't have that running back that we can say, oh, Barkley, take a break, sit down for about this drive or whatever and get ready for the second half. And Gainwell's amazing. He's got great hands. He blocks well. He can run and, he gets you that 4 or 5 yards. He's a shiftier runner.
I did watch some highlights the other day of Jalen Hurts. And, there were some runs downfield that Jalen would take off, and Kenny Gainwell would throw a block. And he wasn't the greatest pass pro running back, but downfield, he gave it his all, man. You could tell he gave it his all.
And like you say, he's not the greatest back there, but you don't want Barkley. You don't want Barkley taking them shots.
Yeah.
And especially next year, after the year he's had this year with all the runs he's had and things like that, we're going to need him to protect him a little bit early next season. So, and if he's gone, then we put Shipley in there and we draft another running back. So
that's the thought for me. I think Gainwell's a go. I think we got Shipley for that reason.
Yeah.
4th round pick to kind of take that spot of a pass catching running back on 3rd down. We saw Shipley play pretty well at some times this year. So I think Gainwell will go. He deserves to go get some money somewhere where he has a chance to be the starter. I don't know if he is a true number one in the league.
No.
But I think he deserves a shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's teams out there that do the back thing, and Gainwell definitely could be one of them.
Yeah.
But again, you got to take him to the side and show him some film of some of these other players that have left, and say, you know what, I think I might wait to stay here.
I don't think that happens as much as we think it should.
I probably agree with you on that.
Because the problem is, it is a business, and as far as you and me, it's funny because to us, the fans, the real thought is always Super Bowls. We want to win Super Bowls. Like, as fans, we want our team to win Super Bowls. For players, some of them, they have the drive to be, I want to be the greatest ever, and I want to win all the time, yada. Some of them are like, give me a win, but now I want money.
I need to pay that.
And so it's a bummer because I think we kind of forget that as fans, because to us it's all about winning.
It's funny,
but to players it is not almost sometimes.
When you go to the Super Bowl, especially if you're in the wild card and a playoff and a Super Bowl, you're making $200,000, $300,000 extra right there, which is a good chunk of change. So I don't know if you're one of the guys only making $700,000, $800,000. That's half your salary right there. So,
Britton Covey, stay or go?
Gone. Go.
Wow.
I think it's time to. Nothing against the guy. I'm just saying. I think it's time that we get get a kid that's out there that's a punt returner. There's hundreds of college players out there. Covey's kind of been injured a few times now, and
it's a bummer. I wrote down stay, but I kind of do agree. I think he'll stay. But if he went, I'd be bummed, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I think Anaya Smith should kind of be our push for the next punt returner, or even Will Shipley. They were both big in college for punt returning. Right. I think that should be the role. I do not want, in any world, I don't want Cooper DeJean returning punt.
No, and I understand that part. That's why we need
against it.
A new guy, the new running back we get in the 4th, 5th round who's really good at punt returns. There's so many things that we can do now because we did win the Super Bowl. We have the back. We have the team. We should be able to just sit back and just choose what we want.
Yeah.
Some teams go, well, this guy's a running back, but he's more of a punt returner, but we don't need a punt returner. We need a running back.
Yeah.
We can go saying, let's get the kid who's the punt returner. We can do that.
That's true. Isaiah Rodgers, another punt returner, or kick returner possibility. Isaiah Rodgers, stay or go?
Boy, I want him to stay so bad it's not funny.
I think it's a stay.
I hope it's a stay. I know you said don't get your feelings involved, but
yeah, I know.
I think he kind of feels he probably owes this team a little bit because they stuck with him after the problem he had last season.
Yes,
and and then he comes back. When you miss a year in this league, you might not get to play at all. Here he came back in and played.
We got him a Super Bowl.
Very big role.
He did.
He made some great.
He was the number one back at corner as far as like on both
Slay
sides.
Out,
Slay out or Quignon was out. Yes. He was in, and I thought he played really well when he played. And I think he wants to stay.
And he's fairly young, right? 24, 25, right?
I think he's actually about to be 27. I think he is a little bit higher.
I know he missed the league and
he's actually 20. He just turned 27 2 months ago.
Okay, so he's still fairly young, and he knows he wants to be around this team with some of the young kids. But again, that's where they come knocking at your door. But I think there's going to be some hands off on him just because of the year he missed the league and then played last year. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about. Your final thing is Rodgers stay?
Yeah, I think he's going to stay. I think they're going to pursue him.
Okay. Let's go to off-season needs. So we talked a little bit about it with the guys up ahead that we talked about before. Biggest needs heading into the off-season. To me, if you want to go back and forth on this, I'm not too sure, but to me, number one is defensive end. I don't think it takes expert analysis.
Yes.
For Eagles fans to know we need an edge.
Yeah, we do.
So I'm going to ask you another game we're going to play. It's called Here, Free Agency, or Draft. Okay, so I'm going to say a position of all the 5 positions that I have listed. I just have 5 listed, and I'm going to have you say, is the solution here already on the team? Is the solution free agency, or is the solution through the draft? So defensive end, here, free agency, or draft?
I say draft.
Okay,
and I think we need to grab one of the best defensive ends. But if it gets to 32 and it's either defensive end or defensive interior lineman, we pick up either or.
Yeah, the best one available. Yes. I get you.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's in the draft. I think it's worth noting, people talk about,
it kind of needs to be in the draft.
Oh, it does. It has to be. We can't be spending money on it. We already spent too much money on Huff, and now we don't,
I agree.
And you can hope and pray, and as of right now, so it's, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, and Bryce Huff are the big ones. We don't know if Brandon Graham's going to be back or not. I don't think he will be.
No.
But to me, it's like Bryce Huff, we don't know. We can hope. We hope and pray, but we do have to get the best defensive end we can possibly get at number 32.
The biggest problem with Huff, I think, is that Vic Fangio is not a fan because he didn't play him at times when he could have played him. Yeah. Especially in some of those games at the end of the year when
he didn't dress in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's insane.
That was disheartening to me because I really thought he'd kind of come back from his injury, even though I don't know how real the injury was. But, especially in light of the fact of how well they did play in the Super Bowl, it would have been nice to see him get out because look at what Hunt did. Oh, my goodness gracious.
Great.
Amazing.
Guard, here, free agency or draft. So this is obviously that right guard spot. Mekhi Becton thing, we don't know. But
if Becton goes, I think it's here. I think we have Tyler Steen, and we got to have somebody else on there, too. What's the kid's name that we had?
For the guard spot, it's really Tyler Steen. I mean, Trevor Keegan.
That's who I was thinking. Keegan too.
He is only in his career played left guard. So I mean, I'm sure Jeff Stoutland could get him out of his comfort zone and start playing another spot. But he's literally listed as a left guard.
Right.
He doesn't. He has
so it's not flexibility.
In college, he wasn't like, oh, we can play here or here or here. No, he just plays guard. So I don't know.
But I mean, left guard. We're going to draft another lineman as well. So I'm going to say if not here, then definitely the draft.
I agree. I think it's here.
Picking up a free agent guard.
I think it's here. I think it's Steen. If you're going to get anybody, I think it's Steen to go in there. And if you draft, you can go ahead and draft in the third round, second, third, fourth round, whatever. Yeah. 3.5s. Yeah, 3.5 is going to turn into at least 2 linemen. It.
We're going to trade one of those 5
to
somebody else to do something else.
Well, the 5 is going to be traded for a 6 and a 7, and another 5 is going to be traded for a 5 and a 6.
A 5 might get us that guard we're talking about too, where we trade up to get that really good guard that they're looking at. So,
that's true.
I mean, it's them. We're going to have some compensatory. Now this year.
Well, the picks from this year are from last year, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So anybody you leave this year, you're not going to get a pick
until next year.
Okay. So
I never
really have that. Draft. We have 8 picks, I think.
I never really knew much about the compensatory picks. Anyways, we have 7.
I think they award them before the draft, but they haven't been awarded yet. I think for this year's draft. I think. I don't know.
The greater the net loss, the higher those picks start at the end of the third round. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because don't you get comp picks for coaches? Or do you not?
It's possible, yes.
Yeah, because there was a few years ago where we lost both the coaches, and then I was like, I feel like we didn't get our comp. Did we get our comp picks? It was like in the draft we didn't have 3 third-rounders, and I was like, we just lost both our coaches. Yeah. How do we not have any picks? I don't know.
Yeah, they're bagging all our coaches.
It doesn't even have us listed in the 3-pick section.
Okay.
I don't even know where. I don't know. 1 pick maybe? Jeez.
Yeah, but I mean,
I don't really get it that much. Sorry.
Okay, we picked up Barkley, so that kind of sometimes offsets the guy you lost or something.
Not if they're released, it doesn't affect your comp picks. But true. It doesn't. But Saquon was not released; he was just a contract termination.
Set that up earlier too. Yeah.
Let's talk about the cornerback position. So obviously, we're missing a cornerback spot right now. We don't know who's going to really be there. Do you think the solution is here? The free agency,
I think it's here.
Draft.
I think it's Keely Ringo. I think it's Rodgers. Well, he's got to stay here.
He's a restricted free agent, though, so it feels a little bit different. But yeah,
right. So I mean, I think it's here.
I agree. I think it's Rodgers or Ringo. You will draft a corner in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round. There's always that. I feel like in any draft, when you get the first 2 to 3 rounds is what you need now,
right?
And then from 4, 5, and 6, that's when you always get a wide receiver, a corner, and a lineman. Always, right. always, right. Because
you
need so many
linemen.
Yeah. Because even if they're not going to be a starter, that's now.
It's normally an offensive lineman. Just that's the way
now
it shakes down.
If you get a corner or a wide receiver who's not going to be an all-timer, he's at least a special teamer. You contribute, make him contribute.
Sure. But and you need that. You need the gunner. You need the tackler guy. You need that.
Yeah. My next position is tight end. So I know we have Goddard. There are some rumors out there, people saying that we might trade Goddard. I don't know if that's true. I don't really see that happening. However, I don't know how much longer Goddard has.
So I don't think it's time to pull the trigger on Goddard just yet. I know we got rid of Zach Ertz when he was younger than Goddard is right now, but right now you run it back. You run it back with what he's got this year. I don't know if you got to re-sign him. I don't know if he needs an extension. I don't know where his contract is.
Going into his last year.
So, I mean, let's just see what happens. If he's missing another 7 or 8 games this year, we could talk about a contract extension down the road, but I don't think he's one that we need to do. He's 30 years old now.
The weird thing with him and Zach Ertz, like Zach Ertz was better earlier in his career than Goddard was,
right.
But it's just like Ertz by this time, it's funny because now he's on Washington doing great.
Yes.
But by this point in his career with us, it was like, oh my God, he can't even run. Like there was times we were watching him and it was like, dude, can he run?
Well, he never broke a tackle in his life until later in his career. And that's what Goddard can do, which always makes us happy. The only thing about Goddard is he seems to take those hits, bad hits. He gets. But, I mean, he's a big, tough tight end. But in my opinion, I think we should not extend him this year. I think we need to see what he's got this year and continue. But, the thing about him is he's like an NBA player where let's not worry about the regular season. Just get us into postseason because that's when he becomes the guy.
Yeah.
He just becomes the guy. I mean, look what he did in the Green Bay game. Look what he did. He had 2 or 3 big catches in every game, and they were like, it's almost like he's the guy Hurts needs to hit the pass early on, which is a 20 or 30 yarder, and then he settles down.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in the Super Bowl. We saw it in the NFC Championship game. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
The next position I have. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
As far as tight end. Here, free agency draft. You think we're going to draft one? I do think we will.
The draft one.
I think it'll be in the. I don't think it'll be that high. I think one of those, like I said, I think one of those fifths is going to turn into a 6th and a 7th.
We've done too much free agency with the Alberto and Zane Jenkins and all the other guys. We're not
going to say his name on this podcast again.
But you know what I'm saying?
I don't want to say Alberto's name.
We continually bring in tight ends the last 2 or 3 years, and they just wash out every time. So let's just go with the draft and let's go from there. Calcaterra's great.
Was the draft, yeah.
He can fill in. He can get some catches. I'd like to see him used a little bit more and maybe a 2 tight end set. We don't do that. Maybe the new offense coordinator will. But I think Calcaterra is definitely a guy we should throw the ball to a couple times more.
I do agree.
That's all.
It'd also take the hits off of Goddard, but yeah.
I agree. And he has great hands and he's got speed. You can tell. I mean,
yeah. Next one, linebacker. You got here, free agency or draft?
Possible free agency, maybe. I know I'm speaking wrong. We shouldn't do it, but we've had some success now with Aaron Burks and Baun. So, I mean, maybe there is that guy out there that we can bring in and, maybe not hand him the keys like we did last year with Kaiser White. Was it White or who was it last year?
A couple of years ago, Kaiser White.
Who was last year?
TJ Edwards.
Last year we gave and the guy didn't even play. Remember? He was going to be the starting starting linebacker, and then we shipped him off.
In 23?
Yeah, remember? This year. This year, before Baun took over in the beginning of the season, in the what do you call it, when they're doing their thing, we had another guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. White. Devin White.
Devin White, thank you. Isaiah White.
God, I forgot he was on.
Devin White.
I forgot he was on this team.
He was handed the keys to the linebacker, and then all of a sudden we're like, where's he at? He's cut?
Yeah.
Obviously, that's before we knew Baun was going to be all pro, which was incredible. But
they must have known.
What I'm saying.
They must have known something, but yeah.
They saw something that we didn't see. Of course, we can't see it, but Devin White.
That's true.
So he just was on the team. He was the man, and then he's gone.
1 year, $7.5 million contract. Yeah, that was funny. He never played a snap. Not a single snap.
Hope we didn't pay all that money to him.
I don't know how it works.
I don't either.
I don't really understand how it works. They sign him, and then they release him 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Well, how much does he get?
Yeah, right. Well, no, if you're not on that first week roster, that changes.
There's got to be something. Yeah, I don't know. Cool stuff. All right, man. Let's talk about something. We're getting a little bit long.
That's okay.
Let's talk about some free agents. We're gonna skip on the draft stuff. Players to draft. We'll talk about that next time.
Gotcha.
Let's talk about some free agents since that's going to happen in 2 days. Some top available free agents. I got a little list here if you want me to read that first.
Go ahead.
This is just ESPN. Matt Bowen ranked the top 10 free agents available. Ronnie Stanley, a tackle. DJ Reed, corner. Chris Godwin, wide receiver. Sam Darnold, quarterback. Josh Sweat, edge. Milton Williams, defensive tackle. Khalil Mack, linebacker. Charvarius Ward, corner. Javon Holland, safety. And Joey Bosa, edge. Obviously, Bosa he's been released, so he's available now. And you have a little bit of a list.
Yeah, I did the same as you, but I mean, these guys are it's unrealistic. But I've got Hassan Reddick.
Oh, wow.
I got Malcolm Kuntz, who was injured. You could get him on a prove-it deal. You got Deo Odeyingbo, who he tore his Achilles last year, so he's good, but, he's coming back from injury. You got DeMarcus Lawrence, made it 4 weeks last year, and he got injured. Prior to him going out after 3 weeks, he had 4 weeks, he had 3.5 sacks and 8 quarterback hits. So, I mean, he can still play, but you're not going to get these guys for the money. The biggest one really was this Josh Uche. He was on another team, I think it was the Titans. He was traded to Kansas City, but then he was a healthy scratch.
Okay.
It's like the rest of the season. So you kind of go, I mean, maybe he's got something in the tank. He's probably not that old.
As a linebacker?
Defensive end / linebacker type guy. Same thing. And then you got Barnett, who, we've had in the past too. But
I can't believe you bring this up.
I know. He's left us, and he's going to be a free agent this year as well. And, the only thing he's done since he left Philly is scored 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns on returns. And he's had some sacks, what he didn't have with us. So, but yeah, Joey Bosa is another one. You're not going to get these guys for any really good price.
Jay's an interesting one. I'm looking on here. Is he a projected? So is he already a free agent, or is he?
Because I looked up free agents. That's how I got to him. For he would be a free agent. So I was looking up the free agent list.
Interesting. Okay, I know.
It's a guy that maybe in the system might just come in and step right in, like we were hoping that Huff would have done, but it didn't happen. But
back in 2022, he had 11.5 sack season, so he's had some abilities in the past. After that, it's 3 sacks, 2 sacks, 2 sacks.
A healthy scratch on Kansas City, so you kind of go, okay, why did you trade for him?
Only 26 years old, maybe 27 about to be. I don't hate that one. I actually like that one. The ones I wrote down some interesting ones. That was just the list that ESPN had.
Right.
DJ Reed was the big one. Corner. If you're looking for a cornerback, might not be a bad idea. Take a peek at him.
Swing. Yeah.
He's never been a Pro Bowl or All Pro. He's a pretty underrated player in the league, so I don't think he's going to be getting too much money. So it might be a possibility. The next few are the kind of unrealistic ones. Khalil Mack. Yeah. I mean, he is later in his career, so it might not be a bad idea if you draft a guy. Khalil Mack might not be a bad rotational guy to pick up.
Right.
Bosa, I'm not really interested in. But I had to write his name because his name's Joey Bosa.
Right. Just so many injuries for him. I mean, it's a shame. He's got 77 some sacks in his career, 72 sacks, I think. He's just, I looked at him and he had the last 3 or 4 years, just 3, 4, 5 sacks.
Next one I had was defensive tackle Jonathan Allen from Washington. In defensive tackle, at one point he was one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Right. A little bit older now. I think he's 31, so he's on the other side of 30. And for defensive linemen, they don't take big hits, like defensive linemen, the defensive tackles, right, because they're just, kind of going to the offensive linemen and they're right in front of each other. So, it's not like he has a lot of tread.
It's that grind, though, just that every play you're getting hit. Quarterbacks can stay away from getting hit.
Yeah, he has had some injuries in the past. 2-time Pro Bowler, though. Great for the Commanders. First-round pick back in 2017. I also would like to keep him away from the 49ers. They've kind of been talking about getting him, so that's also a good idea.
Yeah, and that's funny. That's one of the things we don't talk about is blocking a free agent from going to another team. Like the Myles Garrett thing, he might go to Detroit. Well, we can't do nothing about that, right? But,
Shaq Mason, guard, also on the other side of 30s, 31 years old, 2-time Super Bowl winner, 1-time Super Bowl loser to the Eagles when he got what am I trying to say? Sorry, Brandon Graham pushed him into Brady and forced a fumble. That was Shaq Mason. But Mason never been a Pro Bowl or All Pro, but he's been around since 2015. Not a huge name, so I think it might not be a bad idea if you're having a hard time, finding a guard, or if you can't get back to the back or whatever. This guy's a 2-time Super Bowl champion, and at one point he was PFF's highest graded guard back in 2018. So he's played at a high level before. It's been a little bit of time, but he's struggled as of late. But I don't know if you get him with our offensive line coach. God help me out. Sorry. That's right. If you get him with him, with Stout,
definitely,
that's a whole different thing. So it might not be a bad idea.
One of the things about these free agents that we continually can pick up as far as offensive line and defensive line. You got these 2 great coaches, Stoutland and Vic Fangio, who can mold these players. Zach Baun is all we got to say,
Next big one, Javon Hargrave. He is about to be released from the 49ers. So going to be a free agent. had a tough season last year, only played 3 games. Year before that with San Francisco, he only had 7.5 sacks in 16 games. And, of course, in 22 with us, he had 11 sacks. So was with us for 3 years, had a pretty good time, 4.5 sacks, 7.5, 11.
Amazing for us.
You wonder, he always was not great against the run. You might want to just kind of take your chances with Ojomo or take a defensive tackle in the draft that people have been talking about. Yeah. I think that's kind of the option there. But Javon Hargrave's an interesting one. I mean, a former Eagle who was great with us at one point. We loved having him and, betrayed us and went to the Niners. So,
well, he was a fan favorite. These guys got to get their money. He got, a 4-year, $84 million contract. That's 3 years ago. That's big money.
Yeah.
So
he really had that much?
Yeah.
Jeez.
4-year, 21 a year. I think it was 84. That's incredible. But yeah, it was big money. We weren't going to match it.
All right, let's stop taking up people's time. You all good here?
Yeah, I am good, yeah.
All right, let's say our goodbyes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe down below. Comment your predictions for the free agency. It's only in 2 more days. We got a lot of things going on. Of course, that's when the negotiation period starts, and Wednesdays when contracts start getting signed. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. Go check out our TikTok. We just posted a couple pretty funny ones, I might say, recently. So go check us out there. Other than that, though, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.